My beloved child, do not rush past this moment. For there are graces in the area of finances that I once placed in your hands, which darkness is quietly trying to exchange. I have prepared a portion of blessing bearing your name for a very long time, waiting only for you to open your heart and take hold of it. Do not let this moment slip away. For what I am about to say may be the key that reopens a door you thought was shut forever. There are people who spend an entire lifetime before they realize that the very name they carry has become a wall blocking the blessings I long to give. Behind the disappointments in finances and the erosion of your honor, there are not only cold numbers but a silent conflict between my will and the realm of darkness. And if you do not recognize this in time, the miracle I prepared for you from the beginning can remain suspended right before your eyes, yet never be touched by you. You have thought that you were only struggling with lack. But in truth, you are walking through an invisible battlefield. Every pressure that weighs on your shoulders, every time you feel that you are just about to receive it only to see it slip from your hands, is not mere misfortune. It is the place where your name, the identity you carry, has been clung to by marks that do not come from me. And with each step you take, that name either opens the way for miracles or unconsciously locks shut the very door I am trying to push open. There are those who live their whole lives with the feeling that their road is always being cut short. Just as they try to step up, they are pulled down. Just as a bit of light appears, clouds cover it again. It is not that I do not listen, but that invisible bonds are disputing the ownership of your life. Your name, which was meant to be a seal of blessing, has been turned into a target for accusations in the spiritual realm. But do not be discouraged. I do not reveal these things to weaken you, but to awaken you from a long fog of confusion. When you recognize what is hindering the blessing and what it is clinging to, you will know how to stand in the authority I have given you. This battle is not meant to make you lose, but to help you understand that everything I have promised you is real, if only you will not allow your own name to be turned into chains. There have been seasons when you poured out your whole heart, praying until your voice grew faint, fasting until your body was exhausted, believing until your heart felt as though it would break. And yet everything still seemed unmoved. The miracle was not gone, but it remained before you as if suspended between heaven and earth. Visible, yet beyond your reach. In those long days, your inner being began to wear down. Outwardly, you kept smiling to play your part. But inside, you were drying up like a flickering lamp. You started condemning yourself. Perhaps he no longer hears me. Perhaps I am no longer good enough. Perhaps everything is already ruined. This condition of a blocked miracle leads many into a weary gray zone. They do not leave me. Yet they no longer expect anything great from me. That is the most dangerous place of all, where the heart still sits in my house, but its hope has already been buried in the graveyard. I tell you this not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Delay does not always come from me. Often it is a sign that a power is holding your miracle back, keeping it hanging in the air like a taunt. There are days when you stand before me with weakened hands, thinking that if you could just persevere a little longer, the miracle would break forth. Yet, as the weeks and months pass, your expectation shatters into wordless silences. I know how many times your heart has quietly asked, why does what I pray for remain suspended? But in that very silence, I see something even more serious than your unfulfilled dreams. I see the weariness that is slowly eating away at the faith you have in me. And as your faith erodes, you begin to believe that you are no longer worthy to receive a miracle. I want you to remember what I have spoken. The righteous shall live by faith, Hebrews 10 verse 38. Because the miracle has not vanished. It is only that your heart sometimes grows weak before it can reach it. During that long, drawn-out time, you began to feel as though all your efforts were disappearing into emptiness. You kept doing what was right, praying sincerely, maintaining an upright heart. Yet the door seemed not to move at all. I see you trying to smile so that no one will worry. But I also see the nights when you lie still, not daring to voice your disappointment. You think I am distant. Yet in reality, I am standing so near that I can feel even the sigh of your breath. Do not forget that even when the miracle has not yet opened, I am still keeping you, as I promised in Isaiah 41 verse 10. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Delay is not the evidence of abandonment. It is the space in which I reshape your wings before you fly. There will be moments when you watch those around you step into a season of ease while you are still struggling through a long wait. You are not jealous. Yet you cannot understand why their paths open so quickly. I want you to know that each person's miracle carries a different weight. Some come early because they are light to carry. Others come later because they contain greater things. At times I must lengthen your journey to protect you from the haste that could destroy what I have prepared. When I pause, you assume it is failure. But in my eyes, it is necessary preparation. Just as Psalm 27 verse 14 says, "Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart. You only need to remain steadfast. Everything else I will take care of." I also clearly see how your soul is being worn down little by little in the days before the miracle arrives. A person may stand firm before a great sudden trial, yet grow weary under a quiet prolonged one. You are tired because you do not know where your future is heading. Tired because no matter how much effort you make, you seem to remain in the same place. But what I want you to realize is this: not every standstill is a failure. There are moments when I require you to stand still. As in Exodus 14 verse 14, the Lord will fight for you. You need only be still. When everything seems to stop, it is not that the blessing has stopped, but that I am fighting for you in the realm you cannot see. Yet it is precisely this silence that causes many to slip into the gray zone of faith, where they do not leave me, but no longer expect anything from me. You still come to me, but your heart is not as open as before. You pray, but no longer anticipate. You worship, but no longer believe that a miracle can happen for you personally. My heart hurts when I see you standing there, half believing and half doubting, while I have never withdrawn a single promise I made to you. That is why I long to remind you gently that faith is not a passing feeling, but a living connection between you and me. If you allow hope to be buried, then even when the miracle comes near, it will struggle to reach you. The deeper cause of delay lies not merely in circumstances, but in the battle between your faith and the voices that are crowding your mind. I see how often you blame yourself, concluding that you are not good enough, not strong enough, not spiritual enough. But I have never required you to be enough in the way you imagine. I only ask that you come to me with a true heart, without hiding and without condemning yourself. I have declared in Psalm 34 verse 18 that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. It is precisely when you are most weary that I draw nearest to you. Delay is not meant to expose your weakness, but to reveal my sufficiency. My child, I know there are days when you feel as though you have been placed in a long corridor with no exit. But that feeling is not the truth. It is only the result of fixing your eyes on time instead of on me. Time makes you discouraged. But I renew your strength day by day. What you need is not an immediate answer, but a heart willing to take my hand once again. When you return to me and fix your gaze on me rather than on the delay, you will find that your steps are no longer so heavy. The door does not open because you are impatient. It opens when your heart is at peace enough to walk through it. Do not fear delay, for it has no authority to define your ending. Delay can only tire you, but it cannot defeat you as long as you still cling to me. While you think you are merely waiting for a financial miracle, I am building within you a person of depth, of authority, and of capacity to guard the blessing when it comes. The miracle I give is not only to solve today's crisis, but to establish your future in stability. What I do in silence is always greater than what you ask for in tears. And when the appointed time comes, you will understand why I chose you to walk this path. And my child, when your heart begins to grasp the meaning of delay, you will step into a deeper level of understanding. For it is not only circumstances that hinder you, but other realities in the spiritual realm that contend for influence over your life. What is taking place behind your name, behind the bloodline you carry, is not as simple as you have imagined. Yet this is what I will unveil to you, so that you no longer live in confusion, but in the authority I destined for you from the very beginning. There are truths that do not shout, yet they engrave themselves deeply upon a person's destiny, and you only recognize them when you have walked far enough to become weary. I see how at times a feeling rises within you that something seems to be working against you. Even though you have done nothing wrong, that is not an illusion. In the unseen realm, voices have been echoing from generations past, forming boundaries that you never signed but are still bound by. This is not merely today's story. It is the residue of covenants once made by those who went before you. I want to remind you of my word in Exodus 20 verse 5, that spiritual consequences can extend to the third and fourth generation, not to condemn you, but to alert you that there are invisible cords which can still tighten very strongly. There are families that live under dark declarations which no one ever names, yet everyone feels their effects. One person works hard a whole lifetime and gains nothing. Another has great talent but can never break through. Still another always comes close to success but never fully enters into it. These things are not merely bad luck or wrong timing, but signs of invisible locks attached to a bloodline. I do not want you to be afraid, but to understand, so that you will stop blaming yourself. For I have proclaimed in Galatians 3 verse 13 that Christ has redeemed you from every curse, meaning those locks can be broken. But before they can be broken, you must first recognize that they are there. There are covenants in the realm of darkness that were made on the very honor of a family line, in exchange for some benefit or protection, causing later generations to walk unconsciously under that shadow. You did not sign those covenants. Yet your very name has been affected by them. That is why there are people who, the harder they try, the more they feel as if they are swimming against a fierce current. Not because they are lacking, but because the spiritual current is not flowing in their favor. I see every drop of your sweat. Every time you ask yourself, why do I work so much and reap so little? It is not that miracles are slow, but that there is a contention in the unseen realm blocking the way. I want you to understand that in Ephesians 6:12, I have already made it clear, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood. What you are facing is not people, but powers you cannot see with your physical eyes. Do you know why there are people who are gentle, diligent, and kind, yet every time they are about to step into a good opportunity, it slips away? It is because over their name, an unseen limit has been placed, one they do not even know is there. It is not a limit I have set, but an invisible label left behind by old agreements. This one is not allowed to prosper. This one is not allowed to rise. This one may only live in just enough lack. The most painful part is that many people believe that is simply their destiny, when I never ordained such a thing for them. I created each person in my image to have dominion, not to be controlled. That is why I prepared for you the power of the Word in John 8 verse 36. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. You are not obligated to inherit what is dark. You have the right to break it. But I also understand the confusion many fall into. They think every form of poverty is only about lack of skill, lack of opportunity, lack of effort. They do not realize there is an entire spiritual record being written against what I desire to do in their lives. You have wondered why you are trying in the right way, yet your results still fall short of your expectations. It is because you are fighting not only circumstances but also old records that are calling your name in a way that contradicts what I have called you. I want you to hear clearly in your heart, I have not destined you to live under generational limitation. I have destined you to be the one who stands up and ends that cycle for the generations after you. Just as Joshua 24:15 speaks of separating oneself from the gods of the ancestors, you too have the right to step out of that ancestral darkness at its root. My child, even when those dark things are real, you do not need to tremble, for my power is greater than every bondage, and my name is higher than every covenant forged in the shadows. All you need to do is draw near to me, so I may shine light into the hidden corners you never dared to touch. I do not only want to rescue you from twisted roots. I want to redefine your entire bloodline, so that the generations after you will no longer pay the price for what they did not cause. When you rise up, the whole spiritual atmosphere shifts with you. I am with you just as I have spoken in Isaiah 59 verse 1, surely the arm of the Lord is not too short to save. Whatever is binding you cannot extend beyond that arm. And as you gradually become aware of the truth buried deep in your own bloodline, you will understand why miracles of provision and honor are not only about you personally, they touch the roots, the identity, and the inheritance you carry from previous generations. There are wounds that do not lie on your skin, but right inside your name. And every time you hear someone call you, you unconsciously nod in agreement with accusations that have clung to you from who knows when. I see how your heart tightens whenever you remember the times you were rejected, the dreams that broke, the failed interviews, the unfinished projects. No one else even needs to criticize you anymore. You whisper to yourself the very negative words the enemy longs for you to believe. It does not need to strip away your money first. It only needs to strip away the image you have of yourself. For if you forget who you are, every blessing I long to give will feel too big for a heart that has already shrunk back. As Proverbs 23 verse 7 says, for as he thinks in his heart, so is he. When you believe a false label, you begin to live in the shape of that label. I see the moments when you quietly sigh at the thought of your future. You do not dare to dream big anymore. Because every time you step toward a dream, fear rushes in to remind you of past disappointments. And so you close the door yourself before you even try to knock. But my child, the labels the world has stuck onto you, untrustworthy, in debt, incompetent, slow and behind, do not come from me. They are only flimsy stickers slapped on by people, or by darkness, not by the hand that formed you. I call you by another name, a name written in the book of life, where there is not a single line declaring you a failure. Remember Isaiah 43 verse 1, I have called you by name. You are mine. And when I call you, every other label must step aside. What grieves me most is not simply that you are hurt by the world, but that you have believed those lies for so long that they have turned into truth inside your heart. You begin to live overly cautious, afraid to bother anyone, afraid to be wrong, afraid to be rejected one more time. I never created you to live shriveled up like that. I created you in my image, strong, valuable, full of honor. But when you agree with accusations, your own mouth unintentionally confirms the verdict against you. This is what I want you to awaken to. Because James 3 verse 10 reminds you that out of the same mouth should not come both blessing and cursing. If you use your words to condemn yourself, how can you receive the blessing I am extending to you? There are times I desire to give you a new opportunity, yet you step into it with the posture of one who does not believe they deserve it. You think blessing is only for those who are stronger, more capable, more holy than you. But that is not how I choose my people. I choose by the heart, not by resumes. When you come to me with a tender heart, I count that more precious than every ability you possess. Remember that the people I used in Scripture once bore terrible labels before I changed their names. Abram became Abraham. Sarai became Sarah. Jacob became Israel. I did not change their names just so they would have a title. I changed their names to remind them of their true destiny. Do you know why darkness wants to take your honor before it takes your possessions? Because honor is the root from which blessing springs. A person who does not believe they have any worth will not dare to receive great things, nor dare to keep what is precious. So it traps you in cycles. You build a little, then collapse. You rise a bit, then lose your direction. It does not want you to see yourself as my child. Because once you truly know that, every spiritual chain loses its power. As John 1 verse 12 says, Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. You are not only saved, you have been given authority. Those false labels do more than hurt you. They keep you from seeing the next step I want to lead you into. When you believe you are small, you will hesitate to enter the places I have prepared. When you believe you are lacking, you will not dare to receive great grace. When you believe you are incapable, you will avoid the doors I have already opened. But my child, I want to bring you through a doorway far wider than anything you have imagined. I want you to live as an heir, not as a borrower. I want your mind washed clean of every distortion, so you can hear my voice more clearly than the voice of your past. And when you begin to touch the truth about who you really are, that you are not the product of failure, but the expression of my eternal will, a deeper reality will begin to unfold. You will realize that the battle you thought was about money was never just about money. It was about your identity, your authority, and your eternal inheritance. So today I ask you to make one decision. Not a decision to be stronger. Not a decision to try harder. but a decision to believe me, one more time. To open the hand that has been closed by disappointment and let me place what I have always had for you into it. I have been holding it since before you were born. It has your name on it. And I will not give it to anyone else. The road ahead is not the road behind. What felt like a ceiling was only a door waiting for you to knock. And I promise you, when you knock with a heart that has finally stopped believing the enemy's report, that door will open. Not because you earned it, but because I have loved you with an everlasting love, as Jeremiah 31 verse 3 declares, and that love does not give up on what it has promised. Rise up, my child. Your miracle is not late. It is right on time. And I, the one who holds all time in my hands, am saying to you today, it is time.